wish they would all get together and say, look, this is what we're not going to do. Because, yeah, then once you become the nominee, the shrapnel, I mean, you've just left everyone in your wake. And then the opponent uses what everybody else has used the last, year. So, yeah, I wish they would make some ground rules, definitely.
There are some people who say, though, that this is a primary and this is what happens in primaries. The debate is healthy for the party.
Yeah.
No?
The debate is healthy. Going at each other personally, I don't think is healthy at all.
That concerns me, too, because some of the things that, people have a right to change their opinions. And some of the things that have been done in the past or said in the past, and I'm talking about years previously, maybe their outlook has changed. And I think, you need to consider what they've done the last 5 years or the last 10 years.
As we've said, Ali Vitali is in Ohio. Hey there, Ali. With the second Democratic debate coming up this week, what else are you hearing from voters on the ground there in Ohio?
So, Allison, we have moved over from Ohio back to Detroit where the debate is happening. But we did spend yesterday and part of today in Toledo talking with voters. And really the consensus is that they are excited to start seeing more from these Democratic candidates. They're really in the decision-making process. It's a little bit early for them, but they're starting to get to know who these candidates are. And of course, that top concern is the one that you just showed in those SOTs, is that they're concerned that as Democrats start trying to parse through this crowded field, that the attacks that they level are going to show up again as they eventually end up with a nominee. And yes, there are strategists who say that this is good for the party, but the main debate that we're going to see tomorrow night especially is going to be between Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the ideas that they espouse, and then the more moderate wings of the party. And so that's what voters are looking forward to, sort of seeing these ideas as they're represented from these different candidates. But there is, of course, that risk that the attacks end up sticking and that Republicans then have more ammo as you head into a general election next year.
Ali, are you starting to get a sense of who the front runner is for them, if there's one candidate that's really standing out?
So again, it is early, but I think the main theme that we've been hearing is that the name Joe Biden, everyone knows who he is because he was a big vice president for a popular Democratic president. We're also hearing a lot about Bernie Sanders. He just ran for president in 2016, so people really do know him. I'm sort of standing in the rain, so it's getting a little wet out here, but I'll keep going as the wind picks up. And the other names that we're starting to hear about are Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. They're two big senators. You're seeing them rise in the polls. And so those are the names that we're hearing starting to percolate. But again, the debate stage for a lot of these candidates who voters might not know about right now, the debate stage is a chance for them to start introducing themselves. And so as I talk to campaigns like Amy Klobuchar, for example, they're excited that this is an opportunity for her to sort of contrast herself. She's a moderate. She's not for Medicare for all, but she is for universal health care. So it's a chance for her, for example, to start getting out there and into the cognizance of voters as they're starting to become aware of who these Democrats are. And there's 20 plus of them, so I really can't blame them that it's a little bit hard to keep track right now.
Yeah, it really is, Ali. One of the biggest stories that we've been talking about is President Trump's remarks over the weekend about Rep. Elijah Cummings that people have said are racist. Is that something that people are buzzing about where you are? Have you heard anything, or is that not really an issue out on the street where you are?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think the Democratic voters that I've heard from are very much aware of what's been happening on Twitter. It's what they've come to expect from this president. But over the course of the past few days, as I've been talking, especially to voters of color, they say that they see this kind of coded language when President Trump talks about infestations in cities. They see it as racist. They see it as having a long history and a pattern in this country. And several voters brought that up to me over the course of the last few days as we've been talking about this issue. I will say on the other side of the coin, talking to Republicans and conservatives, this is also sort of what they've come to expect from the president. But I do hear the same explanation and the same explaining away of tweets like this that I've heard over the course of the past few years as I've covered the president, which is he's crass, he's not polished, he's definitely not presidential, but they see things that they like from him on policy, and so they're sort of willing to look the other way. I know that the polling says that Republicans even find these tweets to be racist, that when he tweeted about the squad, for example, that was overtly racist, the send them back, the go home comments that he made. And so clearly that's percolating. It's out there. People might be willing to call them out for what they are. But at the same time, over the course of the conversations I've had with conservative voters, they're not quite willing to disavow the president over them.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.